Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Tom.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
It's our News Watch unit for the month of September, and we're also going to be doing our All-English unit today, which means we're not going to be speaking any Chinese or Spanish or French or Italian or Japanese or whatever, even though we'd love to speak those languages and practice our own abilities with those languages. But we're going to be speaking English for all of your sake, so please be aware of our sacrifice today. And we've got a couple of news stories to talk about. And we've got this thing called water light, which is a light that doesn't really require any electricity. You can run it on seawater and on urine. Imagine that. And then we've also got a story about something called kelpon, which are tampons for women, but they're made with seaweed.
Yeah, we're going to describe some of these new inventions, you could call them. They're brand new, and talk about how some of them might be great for you and maybe others you don't want to look at. Who knows? But we'll be back once we've read through today's lesson. Stay tuned. Water light, the wireless lamp powered by salt water. Developed by a Colombian renewable energy company, the innovative product water light transforms salt water into electricity, providing a dependable alternative to solar lamps. This wireless device requires only 500 milliliters of seawater or urine to give off light for up to 45 days. Additionally, a single lamp can generate about 5,600 hours of energy, amounting to 2 to 3 years of use. It also functions as a mini generator, charging phones or other small devices through a USB port. Compared to solar lamps, water light offers several advantages. It can deliver energy immediately once filled with water, making it usable in any weather condition. Furthermore, once the energy is consumed, the device can be refilled, while the used water can be reused for cleaning. This is particularly vital for the Wayuu people living in desert regions surrounded by sea, providing an abundant source of power for water light. Finally, once it stops working, the lamp is fully recyclable. Looking ahead, the company aims to widely distribute water light to bring light to the lives of the 840 million people without electricity.
Kelpon, the eco-friendly tampon made from seaweed. On European beaches, sanitary products rank as the 5th most common type of disposable plastic waste. They create more waste than even plastic cups and straws. In response to this environmental issue, the German company Wild introduced a sanitary tampon called kelpon. Similar in production to traditional tampons, kelpon's raw material comes from natural seaweed. Unlike conventional options, seaweed tampons naturally break down after use, minimizing their environmental impact. Additionally, seaweed has a high capacity for absorbing carbon dioxide, which helps reduce greenhouse gas emissions during production. Furthermore, these tampons are naturally white, eliminating the need for bleaching. Their silky texture also makes them more comfortable to use with less risk of friction. Market research shows that about 71% of women use disposable tampons, while 41% express a willingness to try reusable or eco-friendly sanitary products. Kelpon's launch directly addresses this demand for sustainable, ecologically green options. In the future, Wild aims to promote seaweed cultivation further and offer better choices for women. Okay, everybody, it's time for us to discuss the contents of today's lesson. The first story is entitled Water Light, the wireless lamp powered by salt water. So that's the name of this lamp, which is a light. It provides light for you so that you can read at night or you can see what you're doing if you don't have electricity, like they supposedly don't have in this area of Colombia in South America. We'll get to that in just a couple of seconds. But again, it's called Water Light, and it's a wireless lamp powered by salt water. Now, if something's wireless, it does not have any wireless. like your smartphones.
Doesn't have any wires.
Doesn't have any wires, right? So, of course, you can carry it around with you wherever you want to go. You're not tied to the wall socket or the length of a wire.
A plug.
A plug, right? So this is wireless, and of course our smartphones are all wireless as well. And this is a wireless lamp, so it doesn't need to be plugged in. And in this particular case, you don't need to charge it with the conventional plug that you put into the wall. You can actually power it with salt water, which of course is water from the sea.
So you're actually getting energy from a liquid that you put into your lamp. You don't have to wait. You just put that liquid in and it can start providing some light for you, which is amazing. I do have some solar lamps that I bought just in case, something happens to our electricity. Sometimes we have blackouts here in Taiwan, as you know. And you know what? If you don't think ahead or in advance and you don't charge them up, then they're not very useful to you if you do have a blackout. So you have to charge them before they work. Right now, I don't have to use the sun. The sun would take a long time, especially if it's on a rainy day here in Taiwan.
Yeah.
But you can charge them up using, an outlet right now because we have electricity. But in this particular area where they've tried to develop this new water light, they have a more difficult time getting energy, I think. So this is a company that is in Colombia, which is in South America.
Yeah.
They speak Spanish, which Tom does speak Spanish, but he can't speak it today because this is an all-English unit. But they're Spanish-speaking folks, and this particular company is from that area, which is kind of fun. They deal with renewable energy.
Exactly. So again, it's a Colombian company and it's a renewable energy company. If something's renewable, well, you can use it over and over again. It's not like petroleum or gasoline or natural gas. When you burn those, you can't get it back. But if you use solar power or wind power, we consider those forms of energy renewable. I suppose hydropower is also considered renewable because it never really runs out. As long as the sun is burning in the sky, we'll have plenty of power.
Well, we have problems when we don't have wind or we don't have sun.
It can happen.
That's a problem we've discovered.
Right. So in this particular case, though, they are addressing this concern with seawater because seawater is always there, whether it's dark or light, night or day. And again, it's renewable energy, and it's a company in Colombia, which is in South America. Its capital is Bogotá. You may have heard of Colombia. It's, I guess, the northernmost country in South America, and it's right next to Venezuela and Ecuador.
Well, this wireless device requires only 500 milliliters of seawater or urine. If you're really desperate and you're not near the sea or the ocean, you can use your urine, which is what you excrete from your body when you go to the bathroom.
It's yellow.
It is yellow. And this can also give off light for up to 45 days. That's a long time. So this is really a great invention. I'd rather have one of these than my solar lamp, I'll tell you that.
And there's plenty of seawater all around Taiwan. So, hey, you could save on your electric bill if you use this light here yourself. Again, I think this is probably more practical for people who live in areas that don't have electricity and they want to be able to, read into the night and cook and stuff like that, tell their kids bedtime stories or whatever. And again, it transforms salt water into electricity, which provides a dependable alternative or another choice to solar lamps. I guess you've got some solar lamps. I had some before, but they quit working quite early on, so I guess they're not very dependable. And this wireless device requires only 500 milliliters of seawater or urine to give off light for up to 45 days. That's quite a bargain there. You only need 500 milliliters of seawater, which isn't very much. Okay, that's only half of a liter, which is, I guess, about the quantity of a big coffee cup or something like that, maybe. And you only need that amount of seawater, or it could be your urine. I don't think I pee that much urine when I pee, but I guess you could collect it over time.
Collect the family urine.
Have it all together, sit there by the toilet and have people pee into a pan or something like that. But you can use seawater or urine, and this lamp will give off light for up to 45 days. Isn't that amazing?
It is, actually. Additionally, here's some more good news. A single lamp can generate or produce, that's what generate means, about 5,600 hours of energy. Amounting, if you add all of this together, that would be amounting. If something amounts to something, it adds up to that thing. So it amounts to 2 to 3 years of use, which is amazing. It also functions as a mini generator. Here, a generator is referring to a small machine that usually you put gas into. I know there are solar generators now, too. I looked into buying one, but wow, they're expensive. And it would take a long time to charge it up using the sun some days. But this generator usually functions on gas, and then you run it, and it produces electricity. You can plug different machines into your generator. Say your refrigerator needs energy because you've lost your power in your house. You could plug it into a generator that runs on gas or other energy, maybe a solar generator, and it would keep it running. This little lamp, which just runs on water, seawater or urine, can actually function as a charger. So, hey, your phone has to be charged too, right? So this could help charge a phone if we lose electricity in Taipei, or other small devices. It has a USB port built into it, which is amazing.
Hopefully it's USB-C, which is the more convenient one. You don't have to worry about whether it's in backwards or not. But in any case, yes, it's a generator, and that, of course, is a machine that produces electricity, usually by putting some kind of fuel in it, and you turn it on, and then you have electric power if you're, say, out camping somewhere, or if you're setting up some sort of festival or something and you need electricity, and that's what a generator can do for you. Now, moving on to the next paragraph here, it says, compared to solar lamps, water light offers several advantages. So again, some people might be saying, I don't need something like this because I already have my solar lamps. Yeah, of course, there'll be cloudy days, but if I charge on sunny days, I should be okay when the power goes out. But we're talking about some advantages here to these water lights, these lamps. For example, it can deliver energy immediately once filled with water, making it usable in any weather condition. So if you happen to live by the ocean and you forgot to charge your devices or something like that, or if you don't want to wait for 2 or 3 hours for your device to charge, you can just walk on down to the beach and fill this thing up with seawater, and voila, you've got instant energy. Oops, I said a French word there. We're not supposed to use other languages, but oh well, you get the idea.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. So it can deliver energy immediately once you've filled it up with water, and it makes it usable in any weather condition. Yeah, usually we lose our electricity when we have bad weather like typhoons or maybe even a bad earthquake. So this would be really handy. One of our vocabulary words is furthermore. Furthermore is an interesting word. It's similar to additionally. So if you want to add more to the piece you're writing, more facts, more opinions, or more about some content you're writing about, you could use this word. It just means in addition to or besides. You're introducing something else into whatever you're writing about, into your argument to persuade someone. So furthermore, what's also great about this lamp is that once the energy is consumed or used up, the device can be refilled. While the used water, remember, the water just doesn't disappear like, for example, gas would, right? Or even oil, a lamp that runs on oil, that oil will disappear after a while, after you've used it for a while. But this used water can be reused for cleaning. So I don't think you want to reuse the urine. I'm just saying, okay?
Yeah,
but
probably not.
The seawater, yeah, you can reuse it for cleaning. So this is pretty cool.
Indeed, and this is particularly vital for the Wayuu people living in desert regions surrounded by sea, providing an abundant source of power for water light. So this is probably specifically designed for the Wayuu people, which are an indigenous group of people living in Colombia and parts of Venezuela as well. It's on that Guajira Peninsula, I believe, in northern Colombia. They live there. and they may not have electricity there, so this device is for them. And we're also describing this area as a desert region, so it's kind of dry. They don't have a lot of plants there. And, of course, it's a peninsula, so it's surrounded by sea on 3 sides at least. And this particular device, Waterlight, can provide lots of abundant power for them.
Isn't that interesting? They're surrounded by sea, and yet the area they live in is described as being a desert, which is so weird. Usually, if you have water around you, you're constantly getting rain. It's humid. That's Taiwan. That's New York, too. I lived in New York for a while, and we were surrounded by water, and it was always humid and raining and very green. But in this area, it's actually very desert. So they need something like this to help them survive. So this is able to provide an abundant source of power for Waterlight. Abundant means more than you need, which is great to hear. Finally, here's one last point we want to make. Once it stops working, all pieces of machinery or devices that are built, they have a life cycle, and at one point they stop working. That's what happens to this particular lamp. But once it does stop working, the lamp is fully recyclable. You can take the pieces apart and reuse them. So looking ahead, the company aims to widely distribute Waterlight to bring light to the lives of the 840 million people without electricity. I think we're talking about people around the world. Here, if you talk about what your aim is, it's another word for goal. Except you can't use goal as a verb. He goals to do something? No, that's wrong. So he aims to do something, or his aim is to widely distribute Waterlight. You could use it that way too. To distribute means to spread out, to give to other people. Maybe you have something in one central location. If you distribute it, you spread it around so it's in other places. Remember, it's not distribute, it's distribute, the American pronunciation, where the heavy accent is on the distribute.
Exactly. So, yeah, some warehouses in Taiwan have stuff in them, and then, of course, you need truck drivers to distribute those products to various stores around the island. And hopefully this can help out all the people in the world who have to live without electricity. Hopefully someday that will be true. Okay, we're at the end of the first article for today. Let's move on now to the second article, but first we'll take a little bit of a break.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. It's our News Watch unit, and our next story has a headline that reads, Kelpon, the eco-friendly tampon made from seaweed. We'll often talk like that. I didn't think about it, but I said the headline reads. It's not like this headline can read by itself, but we use that phraseology when we're talking about headlines. The headline reads something, or the title reads, but usually it's headline. The headline reads, and then you read the headline out loud. And as you know, headlines don't have to be a complete sentence because they used to be tight on space when we were still printing newspapers and magazines. Now everything's going online, so who cares how much space you use? But that's why they are not complete sentences. So we're talking about Kelpon. I think that's the name of the product we're going to be talking about. And it describes, it's being described after that colon. It's an eco-friendly tampon made from seaweed. So this is a product for the women out there. If you are using a tampon, you've probably gone through puberty. It's something that happens once a month to women, and it helps us one day get pregnant and have children. So it's important to know how to deal with that. I know when I was growing up, we certainly didn't have tampons made from seaweed. What is seaweed, Tom?
It's a plant that grows in the sea. And of course, if you like to eat those little spantuan or nigiri that you can buy in convenience stores, they are wrapped with seaweed. And of course, there are many kinds of seaweed in the ocean, so they probably use a specific kind to make these tampons. And again, they are made from seaweed. Now, we're going to Europe now. On European beaches, sanitary products rank as the 5th most common type of disposable plastic waste. Okay, so we've got sanitary products, which are products that have to do with sanitation. In this particular case, it has to do with women's sanitation because they have menstrual cycles approximately every month, and that can cause problems for them, so they need to wear these kinds of products to absorb all the liquid that comes out. And, of course, we have different kinds of sanitary products. A tampon is one. I think the other ones are just, napkins or whatever.
Sanitary napkins.
Right, there are two types.
Or pads.
There might be more. Yeah, pads, I've heard that before. But in any case here, yes, I guess they cause a lot of waste here because I guess they are made, a lot of them are made with plastic in them, and they're also disposable, which means you only use them one time and then you just throw them out.
Yeah, some of them are. Some have the applicators that the tampon comes in, which is more like a piece of cloth, really dense cloth. It comes in plastic that's used to insert. So, yeah, I'm surprised, though. This seems kind of, this doesn't seem accurate to me for some reason because there are only, half the population maybe are women, and yet they create more waste than guys drinking, guys and women, guys and girls drinking out of cups and straws. I don't know about that. But they do create a lot of waste, so that's something to consider. If something is sanitary, it means it's clean, it's hygienic. If you look at a description and it's described as being a very sanitary place, it just means it's very clean. You shouldn't have too many germs there. It's regularly cleaned by somebody. Sanitary products are products used in cleaning or in our hygiene, and things used for menstrual cycles are considered sanitary products. There's also this word disposable. What's that, Tom?
Again, it's something that you can throw out. You only use it once, like most of the plastic cups you get when you buy a drink are disposable, although I guess you could recycle them. They do have the little symbols on them, but most people just throw them out. And so, yes, indeed, these are disposable, these sanitary products. Most of them are. And I guess diapers are too for babies. They're disposable. They don't really use the cloth diapers anymore. That's too much trouble. So if you're a new parent, you'll use disposable diapers.
It was no fun with the cloth diapers, Tom, because I grew up with the cloth diapers, and I would help my mom, first rinse them out in the toilet.
Oh, no. That's gross.
There's poop in the diapers, so you would rinse them out there.
Makes sense.
And then they would go into the laundry. You're not going to wash cloth diapers that have poop in them.
That's ridiculous. It's silly. It's crazy. It's insane. You wouldn't do that. But again, it makes it a lot easier if you have disposable diapers.
Yeah, but now we have all that plastic trash.
Right, and that piles up in landfills. So this is a possible answer to this. I don't think they necessarily need to make just the tampons. Maybe they can use this material to make disposable diapers or cups or spoons or whatever. But in any case, yes, it creates a lot of disposable plastic waste. And they create more waste than even plastic cups and straws. Now, in response to this environmental issue or this environmental problem, the German company Wild introduced a sanitary tampon called Kelpon. Interesting word there because kelp is a kind of seaweed, and tampon, of course, is something sanitary for women. So Kelpon is like putting those two words together, although I don't necessarily think this is made from kelp. They're just using that as a kind of a catchy name.
It's very catchy. So whoever is in their marketing department, congratulations. I think that's a cute name for the product. So in response to this environmental issue, this German company, and we're calling them Wild, that V in German is pronounced with a W. So, but we can't say any more about that because
then the W is pronounced as a V, though, right?
Yeah, yep. It's crazy. So anyway, they've introduced this new product, similar in production to traditional tampons. Kelpon's raw material comes from natural seaweed. So they first get that seaweed as their basic material that they're going to work with, and then it goes through a manufacturing process.
Now, in the next paragraph here, it says, unlike conventional options, they're different from the conventional choices that you might have, the standard traditional choices. Seaweed tampons naturally break down after use. So conventional tampons don't break down. Plastic does not break down. At least it doesn't break around break down rather quickly.
Yeah.
And these actually break down. They return to their original state pretty quickly after they're used, and that will minimize their environmental impact. They won't be so hard on the environment because they break down. We could say they biodegrade faster.
Yeah, additionally, seaweed has a high capacity for absorbing carbon dioxide, which helps reduce greenhouse gas emissions during production. To absorb means to take in. When I think of absorb, I first think of a sponge, something we use when we wash the dishes. That sponge is made of a material that just kind of sucks in water. So it holds water as you wash your dishes, and then you squeeze the water out. If you want to squeeze that sponge, the water comes out. You can also use absorb to talk about somebody really being fascinated by something they're doing. Maybe you've got a child who loves to read. I know a family, and the kids love to read. And anytime I look over to see what they're doing, especially when, we're having activities, or even I'm at church with them, they're reading a book. And these kids just are so absorbed in what they're reading. It's really interesting. It's getting their attention. So we use absorb in different ways. Here we're using it to talk about taking in carbon dioxide,
which is CO2 as a chemical, and that, of course, helps reduce greenhouse gas emissions during production. We are concerned about that. And furthermore, or in addition, these tampons are naturally white, eliminating the need for bleaching. So I guess it's nice to have tampons that are white in color. Some women might freak out if they have a tampon or a sanitary napkin that's a different color other than
that's
white.
Green? Because usually seaweed is not white.
Right.
Yeah.
But I guess these tampons are white naturally. They don't need to dye them, or they don't need to bleach them. Bleach is kind of like a chemical that we use to turn things white. I guess if you want to have white blouses or whatever in your laundry, you put some bleach in there, and that will make things white. Although it's quite strong and it smells quite strong. And so in this particular case, you don't need to bleach these tampons because they're already white to begin with.
Or a lot of the girls out there are bleaching their hair. So they're taking the color out of their hair. I think they want to look more like they're blonde, or add a different color to their hair. They need to bleach it first to remove that dark color, and then they can add other colors after that. So their silky texture, their texture is actually silky. Usually tampons, the texture isn't silky. It's more like clothy, kind of like a cotton material feel to it. The texture is how something feels. We use texture to talk about food. Some food is very crunchy or soft and smooth. So a texture can apply to how it feels, or its appearance, or the consistency of something. Some cheeses are very smooth. Some cheeses have lumps in them, or it's hard. So we use texture quite often. This feels like silk, so it's very soft and smooth. It also makes them more comfortable to use with less risk of friction. Yeah, you want something that's really comfortable if you're using them as a tampon. Friction means when things rub up against each other and it's uncomfortable.
And they don't move past each other smoothly. And market research shows that about 71% of women use disposable tampons. So they've done some research, they've gathered some information, and they've determined that quite a few women use disposable tampons, and then 41% express a willingness to try reusable or eco-friendly sanitary products. So I suppose they asked them, would you be willing to try a tampon that is ecologically friendly? And 41% of them said, yeah, I wouldn't mind trying it. Some of them might be put off. Ooh, a tampon made from seaweed? I'm not going near that. Keep that away from me. But 41% is that's almost half the women said they'd be willing to try it.
Okay, so moving on, it says that Kelpon's launch, when you launch a product, that means when you begin to sell it to the public, it goes on the market. That's the launch. Directly addresses or talks about this demand for sustainable, ecologically green options. I think people are starting to understand that all of our trash is making our planet really just a mess. And one of the reports I read recently was they were testing men, and they found that some of their organs were filled with microplastics.
Oh, no. That's probably me too, yeah.
Yeah, we all are ingesting or taking in food and different things that have little pieces of plastic. Even, I think about the poor fish, We're losing a lot of our sea life because they're either being suffocated with plastic, as they're under the water, or they're eating plastic things they shouldn't. And that's not good for them, and it's not good for us.
Okay, so in the future, yes, Wild aims to promote seaweed cultivation further and offer better choices for women.
Yeah.
So cultivation, of course, is when you grow something and you produce it, and then you have that thing. So yes, they're going to grow more seaweed for this particular product. We'll just have to wait and see what happens with this and whether or not it actually does have a nice impact on the natural environment. Okay, that brings us to the end of our explanation for today. And we look forward to seeing you in another edition of our program next time, so please join us then. From all of us here at English Digest, I'm Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
Goodbye.
Bye.